Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 7th installment of Yid Talks. Lucky number 7. Well, I guess not to the Jews, but 7 is a number, that we hear in Kabbalah and deeper sources of Torah, that the number 7 is really a number of completion, like the 7 days of the week, for example. And so for that case, in that case, I've done my job here, and but in another case, I still have at least 94 more Yid Talks to do until I've reached my first goal of 101 videos. So it doesn't look like I'm done just yet, but I guess in one way I am. 7, it's a good number. Completion, shlemus. So before we get started today, we have a word from our sponsors. Just kidding. But before we start with today's topic, which is going to be our Chelek, our portion in Torah, I just wanted to sort of do a part 2 of last time's video, which was discussing the cup of coffee and how we can sort of bring alive the potential that we have to thank God for everything that He gives us through simple and mundane things that we may do throughout our day, as a way to sort of practice and get better at seeing all of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's wonders in the world, everything that we have to thank Him for every single moment that we have, that we are alive. So I look back at the last video, and I recognize that I missed a very vital aspect, which was to be expected, but I missed a very vital aspect of Hodah, of thanks to Hashem for that cup of coffee. And so I'm just going to do a minute or so of that, and before we move on to our topic about our Chelek in Torah. So the thing that I thought about after watching last time's video, and that I didn't thank Hashem for, is an ability to swallow the coffee when we drink it. And it sounds like, big deal. It's a big deal. Just ask someone, that can't swallow so well or can't swallow at all. It's something that is overlooked so easily, and that's one of the things that I thought about how wondrous it is that we have the ability to swallow. And that's just another thing to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu for, to thank Hashem for. Another one I thought of was our digestive process, that we can digest the things that we eat, and that includes the coffee that we drink. And we can digest it, and it can go through the body, and it can be released. The toxins and the things that the body doesn't need gets released, but the things that we can use stays in our body. And that's another amazing thing to think about is the fact that the coffee, whatever nutrients, maybe however few nutrients there would be in coffee, will remain in the body and be used by the body, which is just an amazing fact. If we really start thinking about it, it could be an entire video just on that, and how amazing and unbelievable and intelligent that system is. How the body knows that. Like we say in Asher Yatzar, that the body was made b'chokhmah. Hashem made man b'chokhmah, with wisdom. So that's just another thing that, it's easily overlooked. I won't speak for others, but something that I easily overlook when I'm drinking coffee or eating food, or it's just so easy to overlook it. And the last just point that I want to make about the cup of coffee was the fact that it's not a poison, meaning we can actually ingest it and it doesn't do us harm. And in fact, it can even create benefit. Coffee has caffeine in it, which allows us to be energetic and more awake and more alert. So it has benefits to ingesting it into our bodies. Hashem didn't have to make the world that way. There didn't have to be any benefit to when we ingest it. It doesn't have to be a concept of ingestion at all. But Hashem gave man the ability, gave his brios the ability to not only intake food and drink, but to also have it be something that we can benefit from. So those few points I just wanted to elaborate on, which again, I missed those points when I had 5 full minutes to think about the benefits that I get from coffee, the things that I can thank Hashem for by just a little cup of coffee that was as an example. And that brings me to something that we say on Shabbos and on Yom Tov, in Pesuki de Zimra, right before Yishtabach, Nishmas Kol Chai. It says in the middle there, it says, Ein anachnu maspikim lahoides lacha. There's no end to the amount of thanks that we are meant to give to Hashem. Hashem Elokecha, Velokei Avoseinu, the God and the God of our fathers. Ulavarich es shemecha al achas me olef elef alfei alofim v'ribe revavois pa'amim hatoivois shasisa im avoseinu ve'imanu. And to bless on Hashem's name upon the language here is achas me alef elef alfei alofim. The Chazal really wanted to penetrate this idea of how many things there are to thank Hashem for. It's unlimited. The ribe rabavois, right? A multiplication of many times for the good that Hashem has given to us. So, we're reminded about this when, if I have an opportunity to have any kind of kavanah in Pesuki de Zimra, which I'm always working towards. But if I have a little bit of kavanah for that part of Shabbos Pesuki de Zimra, it can help me really start to think about the numerous infinite wonders that Hashem provides for us. And I think that this practice is important. I think this is going to be a topic that I'm going to discuss again because it's important. I would love to speak about the importance of a gratitude journal. And God willing, we'll get to that in one of the other 94 talks that I'll hopefully be giving here on this medium. So today's topic is our Chelek in Torah. Even though we're, 7 minutes of the video, but now we're finally getting to the topic. I'll try to keep it short. Our Chelek in Torah, there's a I guess to some, a well-known idea in Torah, and I don't know the source, and please enlighten me if somebody else does, that every Jew has a chelek, has a portion in Torah. And it struck me when I saw in Shabbos davening, if you can see how spunky I am, Shabbos is to thank for that. It says in our davening in Shemona Esrei on Shabbos, when we're asking for a few requests, we say in the middle of it, we say Fesein Chelkeinu b'Sorasecha. We're requesting, we're beseeching Hashem to give to us our portion, our chelek, in your Torah. And I thought to myself, in relation to the idea that I just gave over, that we know that every Jew has a chelek in Torah already. So then why are we requesting it in our davening? And we do this on Shabbos and on Yom Tov, this davening. And it made me think, and I came to a conclusion that I'm going to share, and I'm not saying that it is correct, and I would love to check with the rabbi, but I thought it was an inspiring idea that I wanted to give over to anyone watching. And that is as follows. It's true, everyone does have a baseline chelek in Torah. But what would life be without being able to work on ourselves and continually increase the chelek in Torah? And I really think that's why we're asking for our chelek in Torah in the Shabbos and Yom Tov davening. There's really degradations and an infinite amount of degradations. Meaning, just as an aside, anytime we're talking about Hashem, I think we're dealing with the infinite. And I think this is it's a cool topic to discuss. But in the same way, there's a degradation, an infinite degradation of levels of one's chelek in Torah. And I think we get there through two main avenues, through toil and through tefillah. I think tefillah, it's clear that the fact that we ask for it in our prayers, and it shouldn't be limited to when we ask for it specifically, we should also in our own personal lives request from Hashem and beseech Hashem that we yearn to follow your Torah to the best of our ability. Please give it to us. Hashem listens. We need to be able to ask as much as we can. So that the tefillah is important, and the tefillah is one of the main ingredients. But I think the other ingredient that I mentioned is toil, that we must try our very best to put aside as much as we can, different taivas, different desires. And of course, this is something that we all need to know for ourselves. Just like I said in the previous video, the importance of knowing yourself, because this is really important in terms of knowing when our taivas are good for us versus when they're not good for us. And again, it's another great topic. I got to write these things down. I don't want to forget them. There's some good things to talk about. But it really is personal about how much we're meant to toil. But the more we know ourselves, the better we know that answer. And it says in Pirkei Avos, in 5:26 in Perek Hey, and I guess Mishnah Kaf Vav, which is Hashem's number 26. That's beautiful. It says at the end of that Mishnah says Ben Hey Omer Lafum Tsa'ara Agra, that the reward is in proportion to the exertion. And I think we can apply that to this idea of what toil is in our Torah learning and in Avodas Hashem, is that the more we can toil, I think the greater our chelik in whatever portion we were apportioned by Hashem in the first place to be. Hashem, through His Hashgacha Pratis, gave all of us a specific chelik, a specific portion in Torah, but we start from here, and we have an opportunity to continue to grow and grow to get our complete chelik in Torah, and that's something that I wish for all of us to be able to achieve with effort and with toil, with our tefillah, with our prayers. And I want to leave you with that, and I hope that you guys enjoyed this 7th installment of Yid Talks.